Spacestation Gaming.
Very exciting one. Thank you so much, Rudy. Love you as always. Let's talk a little bit about Nolly. Let's hit on that point one more time. As the second man, one of the more important players on the field, Corelli, like he's the deep back for this offense. He's responsible for keeping the cadence of the offense at midfield moving at all times, for kind of recognizing spaces where someone like Ham or JNAP can set up and start to create more plays. He's really going to have to be an X factor in this series. And you could probably say the same about LJ, but Nolly, just one of the better players on the field, doesn't usually get a lot of love. He's so important for this offense.
Yeah, on his best games, people sing the Nolly praises from the mountaintops. And you mentioned LJ. I mean, this kid is I think just a superstar. I want to say in the making, but I think everyone kind of knows how great he is now.
Sure.
So, but he's yet to reach like that beast mode type of aura, I guess. And I think that he certainly can. He's certainly good enough. It's just a matter of will he do that in their biggest moments. And doing it against OG and a team that's really been giving them an issue throughout RLCS, well, that's the perfect time to do it.
LJ definitely feels kind of like a juicy type player where you get him on a squad, even maybe this one, that can consistently win, go on deep runs. He's the player that gets better the longer the tournament goes on, and he's a step up at LAN. He's excellent. Memory serves, the offensive MVP of the World Championship last year, and he just continues to impress. So it'll be fun to watch him in this tournament. Last best of 5 of the day. Welcome into SSG versus OG. Two teams, like Hootie said, that we will be seeing at the World Championship in about a month and a half's time. But already, a couple of threatening shots as Noli will take his chance from the back wall. Double tap there, plays it a bit wide, but unfortunately for him, just a little too much in the defensive way on the net. Still a good shot, though.
Yeah, a little flip reset, double tap. I love that type of setup. Getting that flip reset there is so much fun, too, because you get that power behind the ball on the flip. Nolly is certainly feeling himself early in this game. Another dangerous ball. Glances over the top, and they're punished off the post. Oh, it's off both posts. And Chicago couldn't follow it up. So close calls on both sides, and we stay knotted at 0.
Calm working on low boost. JNAPS will have to get out in front. Calm's actually been an interesting character this season. I think a lot of the fans in general think of him as a bit of a slower type. He plays very physical, right? Like he's big on demos, bumps. He's got that Reynolds blood in him, but I mean, he has stepped up his game offensively this year, been much more of a facilitator as well, and not just increasing the dimensions to his game, but he's fit in really nicely with JNAPS and Noli, and it's this offense specifically, Corelli has required him to do a little bit more. I think that he also as a player has slowly evolved this season. Maybe doesn't get a lot to show for it, but he's really been a different player than he was maybe a season 2 ago.
Yeah, but then the thing about the offense of OG, and really touched on it perfectly, is that it does require everyone to kind of be a part of it. And that's, a blessing and a curse because, when it works great, but it just means you add so many more moving pieces to an offense. And if you can't pull that off, well, you're in a really dangerous spot. And speaking of dangerous spot, there is nobody in the backfield because LJ takes away Nolly. A wide open shot to kiss off the crossbar to boot. It's a 1-0 lead for Space Station.
And LJ just kind of causes a bit of panic. Forces one player to jump over, the next one to fly away. Net's a bit open. Not going to miss it too often. Already a 1-0 lead. 2 minutes to go. And JNAPS sends it towards net. Bit wide. Just establishing some rhythm. Hawksher with a great touch. Here comes LJ. Double tap available. Dead just goes for the solo. Didn't have enough boost to keep the play moving. Hawksher waiting in the opposite wing. Will give it right back. Calm, taking it on his lone. Noli, next man up. Crossbarring down. Is it enough? JNAP's waiting and places it perfectly. Good patience on the goal line for a tie game.
And another great, example of getting everyone involved from OG. The air dribble towards the offense. And Nolly off the crossbar. JNAP's to crash the net. OG perfectly executing that one. It wasn't the prettiest, but certainly worked out in their favor and exactly what they were trying to do in the end. SSG couldn't hang on, and a great equalizer found for OG.
Very much two teams that play somewhat similarly and have a lot going for them, but as a parallel matchup, you can see where the resemblances lie. Especially at the midfield, as JNAPS tries to work underneath. Calm, looked for a bump, wasn't able to find it. Here he comes back into the play, will center back out. Noli might try to just give it a light tap to help JNAPS crash in. Will do so.
What?
Still saved out, just a millimeter away from taking the lead. And now a counterattack opportunity as LJ fights for possession.
Oh, I thought surely that one was in. Now off the backboard and no one there to follow up. But my goodness, that's how close this game's been. multiple shots have gone on the goal line or off the post. And that one somehow did not go in. I want to see the replay on that. That's got to be just a sliver of the ball outside of the goal line.
The offensive OG played it correctly. Noli did everything. JNAPS comes in to crash, but better defensive stop from SSG. 99 times out of 100, that probably goes in. From the ceiling, another great look from Com. Noli can't get there in time. Chicago into the corner. Com's going to take this one. Noli working underneath. Has going to play low. And they give it right back to Hoxer. JNAPS continuing. Great extension from the boys in blue.
Still tied. And 10 seconds left. Communication coming through, but it's into Hoxer's hands. Now LJ, he's going to go. He decided to go.
Man.
Com has an open net. Is it just going to drop in? He can't get back to it in time. No, he can't even get a touch on it. And somehow this ball's picked up. Chicago was pre-jumping there, but Com was in an awkward situation and just couldn't get around to the ball. The net was open for a split second.
I think maybe he was expecting the ball to drop a little bit quickly. More quickly is probably the right way to say that. But unfortunately, it takes his time coming back down to the ground. With that, into goal opportunity for game one. Last series of the day, going to OT to start. Noli's going to wait. JNAPS will just send it right where it came from. Can't get it around Chicago. Two old teammates going head-to-head in this one. One of the longest-lasting duos in that old G2 roster. Now find themselves on separate rosters, and with that, two very strong teams in NA. Hoxer from the ceiling, looking for LJ, but Com will take it away.
Very dangerous both these teams have, and that one let for LJ of Chicago. Another dangerous shot rifled off from Spacestation. We're trying to bring that one down, and very dangerously so. For OG, they're looking to not give up one late, and another cut from Nolly from behind Hoxer. Here comes LJ, dangerous, backboard open. Is the bank open? No, denied by JNAPS.
Kicked right out across. JNAPS was waiting, calm. Tried to sneak underneath, will get the corner. Gets a demo as well. Power play for the moment. How long does it last? Back to full strength. Noli from the corner, around Hoxer. Has LJ to bite. Chicago, last one up. The defense will scramble back to the net. The offense starts to slow down just a bit for OG. They'll try to keep it on the ground. Everybody fighting for possession. It's a traffic jam right now on the offensive third. Chicago into a demo. Com gives it to JNAPS. Naps right off the crossbar. Into the hands of a waiting Com. Minute 45 gone. And still no open lane. OG struggling to find the window. SSG not giving him much.
Yeah, OG kind of throwing the ball towards SSG to see what sticks. Now LJ with 0 boost. Can he find the angle? It's wide open. He definitely can. And Hoxer, 2 minutes of overtime. SSG on top.
You work so hard, you get so far, but in the end, it's one counterattack for LJ and Hoxer there for just some security. Some security is the way we say it. Almost 2 minutes gone in the OT. Doesn't matter, though. At the end, Hoxer, Chicago, LJ, and SSG will take game one. 556 for Hawk. LJ at 479. Like, a ridiculously good game from JNAPS. Let's talk about that for a second. 6 saves, 83 touches. But just was not enough. SSG, again at the midfield, escape on a counterattack, and they win.
Yeah, 6 saves and an 841 score is something else for OG Esports. Happy to say that I am casting to you live from Yummy Cheese Man's house at the moment. And it's been great here in the Down Under. And for SSG, they have enjoyed themselves so far. Close game, though. And you can see why this series has gone 10-10 in games in RLCS. Very back and forth. Was it the most pretty game one? No, it was not the most beautiful game one of Rocket League you've ever seen, but you did see a lot of chances generated by both sides. So both of them kind of getting their jabs in, which is good to see because sometimes, you know, as we saw in our previous game, you get a game one where fun just kind of fell over before they even got out of the gates.
Of all the series to go 5 today, this one likely the one to do it. Sample size is a hell of a thing. And between these two, like Corelli said, going into this, believe it was 10-10, as you said, Corelli, map-wise. So this is a very much a series we'd expect to go the distance. If it does, let's get it cracking. If it doesn't, shame on both of you. All right, let's get into game 2. SSG versus OG. Corelli had to pull down the green screen to show everybody that he's not, in fact, in the Matrix, that he does exist, but I still don't believe it. Let's get into game 2.
Listen, completely off topic, we should have yellow and red cards in Rocket League.
Okay.
And it should be given out by the casters.
Sure.
Okay.
I like this. Oh my goodness, I like that as well. Don't sleep on the knapsack, folks. He's pretty good. Hoxer kind of gives it right back, sets it up perfectly for JNaps, and a 1-0 lead.
Oh, what a start for OG, and that's a great shot from the Nap man. I mean, listen, JNaps, after a performance like he had the previous game defensively, he's finally getting a piece of the offense. And a great start here in the first 10 seconds.
If JNaps ever retires, I will pick Corelli up from his spine and throw him into a very deep well and leave him there. In the corner. Chicago. Looking for LJ. Not a bad touch at all. SSG taking game one. If you're just joining us, welcome into the final match of the day. Noli going to get the pick up the midfield. Carries it. Nicely done. Dribbling forward, but immediately blocked into the corner.
I think for Space Station, you're really not panicking here. I mean, you've got plenty of time, obviously, but in a game like this, or I should say, in the previous game, you saw how many chances you had and that you generated, whether it was on the counterattack or opportunities you generated yourself that you just hit off the post. Shouldn't be too concerned, but at the same time, OG certainly picking up the pace, finding a little bit more confidence over SSG at the moment, and demos are certainly playing a big factor. It always is when Calm's on the field, but it was Nolly getting the most recent, and now Calm looking for a second touch. Not going to find it. Nolly patiently waiting. And maybe waited a little bit too long. Nolly to his backboard now for the clear. It's Calm dropping it down, and that one was just too far out in front of JNaps.
Very, very patient from Nolly. That's a calculated risk from him. He's usually one of the first players on the ball at midfield, but instead worked all the way back towards his own net. Gets a decent clear. Now the transition following suit. What can they make of it? Hoxer in a 1v2 in the air. Back to himself. LJ. Try to keep it moving. Feels like one of these like really shallow clears on defensive ends from both teams might be the thing that gets SSG or OG to break the scoring open like we see here. Right center net. Noli kicked it back out. Hoxer looking for Chicago. Has him crossbar. Saved by JNaps. Here comes Com. Into the corner. Noli's going to have a full tank. Instead, won't take the ball. Lets Com handle it. And slowly working back up to the midfield, gets absolutely obliterated.
And I obviously I'm not able to keep track here, but a ton of demos in this game so far on both sides, but certainly OG getting the better of Space Station right now. And, I mentioned, no time to panic for Space Station. They're going to be fine. Well, you're halfway through this game, and sure, they've generated 4 shots, but none of them, in my mind, were ever that dangerous. And you're starting to wonder, are you running out of opportunity here in this game? Despite the runway they may have, OG have certainly picked it up, and they've skirted across the goal line once again. Nolly going for the pinch, he will. And with 2 minutes left, OG looking for their second. And no follow-up will ensure that Hoxer gets a good clear.
JNaps able to steal a couple of resources away. SSG not going to have much to work with. JNaps not a good touch. Here's your chance. If you're SSG to try to keep possession and start throwing some shots towards the net. Still getting pushed back into their own goal line. And they'll lose that touch as well. I mean, there's just opportunities here where SSG look like they have all the real estate in the world to be able to get possession back, but they can't beat the contact.
And LJ just couldn't get back to it in time. He does get the demo, but you're right. I mean, just taking the challenge head on, and that one squirts into the net for a 2-0 lead. OG, they've had to get physical for it, and Space Station has not had an answer.
Maybe something changes in the final 90 seconds. JNaps. We've seen this before. Low boost, doesn't matter much. Won't get the corner. Chicago will. Hoxer's going to be the only one up on the ball. To Noli. To Com. Demo doesn't matter. Back to full strength. Com wasting time to allow Noli to get back off on the defensive end. We'll circle back out. It looked like a double commit. They gave it right back to the boys in blue. Through the corner. Power play here. Noli was waiting. He crept up just a little bit too far for my liking, but everything works out. Again, moments where even if OG looked like they're overcommitting on a play, SSG a little bit too indecisive and too clustered in their spacing to really work some of these angles at the midfield.
Well, I can tell you that Com just got his demolition on that demo. And now Boxer over to Chicago. They need this one to drop with time left on the clock. Everyone dives for it on OG's side. It's Space Station. For this game in particular, they have not been able to break out. Now LJ left with no boost in a tough spot. Calm trying to catch back up to the play. And like we said before, Space Station just need to score with some time left on the clock, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen with the way OG has been swarming Space Station.
And Calm is just forcing the defenders to burn boost, like pushing him back into the goal line, chasing him off the ball. It's so much less about you're not going to be at the midfield and much more about you're just not going to have the resources to make this counterattack happen. And with that, that is it for game 2. A pretty dominant showing from OG. And not much you can really say about the SSG offense, because even when there were opportunities, even when there was space, I don't think a single player broke above 300 points per LE. No, they didn't.
And rightfully so. They just weren't able to generate that offense. And for OG, I think the demos really panned out for him. You can see 7 from Calm. It was 9 in total from OG. And for Calm in particular, he sits at the bottom of the scoreboard at 278 on the OG side. And that just doesn't tell you what the type of work he was putting in defensively, or I should say physically, for OG. And it opened up quite a bit of space for them to find their 2 goals.
Series now tied 1-1. SSG take game number 1. OG take game number 2. I believe we have a quick card change. It should be Chicago. So maybe he goes to the Octane. We'll find out momentarily. Haven't seen him on it too much this season. And it looks like, no, we're sticking with the Fennec. So, okay. I like it. It works.
Okay. Got the Vitality decal, it is.
Could have just been a preset change. That's right. Thank you, chat. You know, you never know. Sometimes I want to get a little creative, like, oh, maybe we'll start to see a change up from the veterans, but it very much is the placebo of, I like this color, it makes me feel lighter, so that's where we're going to go.
Oh, is the Vitality decal considered a light one? I don't keep up with what colors are light these days. I didn't realize the OG Vitality with the flames and the whatever this is, the purple.
I think it's like a beehive swarming.
Okay.
Yeah.
With the blue wheels? I don't know. I don't know what that one is.
John says it's mega heavy, but in a good way. So it's a...
Oh, so that's good. See?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
It's a counterintuitive placebo.
It's a placebo of a placebo.
It's placebo squared.
I think that's reverse psychology is what they call that one.
I think it's a subprime placebo.
Yeah, that's right. The market of... the decal market's going to crash, I think, after this.
Man, all it needs to crash is the offense. You like that? Here comes Calm.
Oh, my God!
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Sweet Mary Martha.
Oh, my God. Calm. He can do more than demolition. He can find the back of the net. My goodness, 90 miles an hour from Calm.
It's one way to get the offense going. Set the rhythm following game 2. Tie series. Calm opens up proceedings. Draws first blood. Chicago. In your Vitality decal. From the corner. Hoxer waiting. Can't beat Noli. Hoxer gets pushed off the play. A chance gone by the wayside. SSG will have to try again. But the net's wide open and it's 2-0.
Wow. And they are working Space Station with this. With Calm again trying to go for the demo. And this time, this is his first man, but gets Hoxer in the backfield. Follow-up from J-Naps is green grass all the way to the net. And for OG, a dream start here in the first minute and a half. J-Naps has 400 points. Calm's going to put one just wide, or just high, rather. OG, my goodness. What a start to this game.
Yeah, very much a dream start. Couldn't really ask for much more. Knowing it's only day 1 of the Shift Summer League, plenty of time for teams to make adjustments, to figure out what's working, what's not working. But my goodness, coming into this, a lot on the line for both teams, just, standings-wise, pride-wise, figuring out where the squads are at. In a parallel matchup that feels like one team certainly having the better swing of things here. It's OG, or out in front, thanks to Calm and J-Naps. And that's not a negative on Noli at all. It's actually, a bit of a miracle that we haven't had to say his name too many times, because he can just do what he does best. Kill time at the midfield, shadow for his teammates, look for spacing where J-Naps and Calm can be effective. Hawks are going to keep it on the ground, plays it into open space to buy his teammates time to find some boost. And a very weak touch I think he wants back.
And Nolly hasn't been without his threatening attacks either. A couple games ago, he had 2 or 3, or actually it was game 1, 2 or 3 in a row. He has been special behind the ball. He hasn't been able to convert on those opportunities, but he has certainly made the defense work for it. Now, defensively, trying to work his way through Hawks. That's a tough angle, couldn't get over it. And Space Station need one. And it's not going to come. Another one denied from JNaps. He's up to 4 saves. There's 2 minutes left on the clock.
I mean, they're really making the defense stretch right now. This is one of the better swings from SSG. Credit to what OG's been able to do with the ball. They're playing it towards the corner. They're stretching out with low boost, so you kind of get handed an opportunity, but SSG needs to start capitalizing on those long swings downfield. The amount of time they've had with pressure certainly has to be rivaling the success that OG's had in this series, but they've just walked away with no goals. Maybe a chance here. Plays it close right. Chicago. He's looking for LJ, maybe. Nope, gives it back to Hoxer to Chicago on no boost to LJ. Really the only one with boost in this situation. Hoxer finds the open spot. Everybody gets a look and buries it.
It felt like LJ was kind of falling asleep at the top of the box on the first go-around, but the second go-around came right out to him, played it off the back wall, and got the help with the bump. Hoxer puts it home, and Space Station finally break through.
Took a while. Engines online. JNaps trying to get one right back. Backboard. Can't get the touch off the hood. Might have been able to find a waterfall. That is the sound of thunder. That just rattled my entire room, so let's make sure that our electricity stays on. LJ from the corner. Noli. Hoxer playing it shallow. Chicago. Perfect setup and a tie game.
Here they come. Space Station finding their mark. This time it was just off a Nolly touch, though. It was really what created the opportunity of a misplay from OG. But Space Station, they've been kind of camping the top of the box at the midfield there on the offensive zone, and feels like now they're getting their opportunities and they're converting on them, and they're putting OG right back onto the back foot.
Exclamation point NA bracket if you want to find out the matches we've played so far today and those currently happening off stream. There are many watch parties that you can go check out, but we encourage you to stay here on the main stream and to continue supporting Shift Rocket League. You can do so by tweeting out the stream is live, supporting the players, the teams here, the production as well. It's been a hell of a start for this Shift Summer League.
Open all of them, all the streams.
All the streams, yeah. Be a real Chad. Open up all the streams. Wow, what a shot. Hoxer ripping it from the elbow. Gets the corner grab. LJ. Offensive MVP. Leaving it to Chicago. Hoxer into the corner. Is the defense able to stand up strong against this pressure? Answer's been yes, but with a tie game and under 20 to go, the SSG offense is swinging through.
SSG certainly knocking on the door here, trying to keep it awkward, and they did. LJ, dangerous, flip reset, shot on target with the double tap, and Calm barely hung on to make the save. 4 seconds left. Is there one last chance for either squad? Calm. Nolly's going to try and keep it up, but he's denied instantly, and overtime we go.
Big, big, big game for SSG. For OG, trying to steal away something special. Off the kickoff, possession OG. Hoxer gets it right back, fights to the corner, bullies his way through the corner. JNaps immediately gets a hand up. Chicago looking for the center. LJ was ready, but Hoxer on low boost, going to rotate out on the island. LJ will play it back. Calm from the corner, crossbar down.
Whoa.
Calm is too good.
Calm just whipped that one into the net by himself. The setup from the corner, bang! Off the crossbar and in. Overtime goal, and OG put SSG on match point.
Not many players you'll find barking, but he's one of them. If this was on land, he would have been chapping, yapping, chirping, all the above. It was just a perfect game from Calm. Nearly 700. Same for JNaps, Noli. Just here for the vibes. 266, but I mean across the board. 4 saves, 4 shots, 5 saves, 1 shot. Defensively, Calm and JNaps stepping up. Offensively, everybody contributing. That was excellent from OG. SSG, really, really great in the opening 2 minutes. Final 2 minutes, start to slow down, kind of retrace themselves back to the offense we expect. A lot of space, not really capitalizing on it, Corelli. It just seems like OG, again, like whether they're just leaning on the physicality at times or they're just keeping pace, they're able to skate alongside SSG for the majority of this series, and then they come in with like a landing blow that knocks them out.
Yeah, and for Space Station, again, you look at the stats, you look at the shots, and it's not everything, but a frustrating game because they were able to put up 13 shots in that game, and 10 of them were saved. 2 of them they put away, which leaves for 1 missing shot and all of that, but 10 of them were saved by OG. Defensively, they have been rock solid, and even when it's looked dicey, majority of the time they've come out on top. So for Space Station, it's not for a lack of trying. It's not like they're not getting their opportunities. They are. They're pressing against OG, but they're not converting. And that's what OG's done better so far. Their conversion rate much higher, or at least higher than Space Station's, and they're getting the job done.
Curly said it best, as he always does. Conversion rates not entirely favoring SSG. For OG, business as usual. Bit of a cruise control situation here going into Game 4. Granted, you don't take your foot off the pedal, but you do consider the fact that you have won the battle at the midfield, you've won the defensive battle, and you've been executing on the goal line much more frequently than SSG have. Feeling very confident, cool, calm, collected. This Calm will kick it out from the blue side. Will follow through, leaves off on boost, out to Nola. Chicago will give it right back to the man I just said. And we'll keep it moving. 1 demo to help out. Is that over LJ? No, LJ gets out in front and holds on to possession, but a flurry of demos at the midfield. OG come out of this gate immediately hot and ready to go. Uh-oh.
Chicago's got an open net. He almost got bumped into his teammate, but he'll put it home. And for Space Station Gaming, again, a very welcome start to this game. A demo will open things up, and obviously LJ and Chicago trying to fight over it to see who gets the credit for the goal. But a 1-0 start for SSG, that is exactly what they want.
Take the opportunities when they arise. A 1-0 lead is quite nice for SSG. On the back touch to LJ. Was looking for Chicago. Was ready on the setup, but again, another instance where just defensively, they'll have to work a bit extra to get this one through the midfield. Hoxer plays it perfectly to Chicago. Extending and into the back wall. It's going to be OG with plenty of boost to be able to escape here.
I feel like OG got to be feeling confident. As we mentioned multiple times, this has been a series between these 2 teams that's been very back and forth in RLCS in the 4 times they played. And for OG, it'd be nice for them to get the win over Space Station at the moment. Take a lead in that record at the very least. But for OG, their X factor still, I think, has to be Nolly. Only because they haven't really needed him. He hasn't had those big moments that I think JNAPS and Calm has had. But he's been kind of filling in those gaps. And so Nolly has been threatening multiple times in Game 1 and previously, or in the previous game, rather. And right now, SSG, well, they're just happy to hit the ball around until time runs out to tie up this series.
Game 5 on the horizon. Will we get to Champions Field? That's been the big question. Haven't seen it yet today. Maybe this is a sign of things to come. Last series of the day, Hoxer couldn't find the connection. JNAPS on the pickup. We'll flip it forward. Gives it right back to LJ. Foot race into the corner. Boost grabbed by the boys in orange. SSG will escape with possession, and Noli the only one out in front for the challenge. Calm rotating out, gives it to JNAPS. Backline secure. JNAPS following through. Noli's ready. Center back out. And Hoxer will get the pickup. Thought for a minute maybe JNAPS might try to take that challenge. Don't think he had the boost to work with. Another about a minute gone. A couple of counterattacks from both teams. Nothing too threatening, Corelli, but still a 1-0 game.
Uh-oh. Whoa. That one was a free ball over to Nolly, but hit it weak. I don't know if he was trying to pass it off. And now the pass from Chicago. Hoxer was there. The defense not making a play on it fast enough. Still plenty of time. 2 minutes on the clock. JNAPS would love to find the equalizer, but it's not going to be that easy with Chicago in net.
Dangerous touch from Calm. Noli going to play it slow. Just body block on the ball. I love that. Makes an awkward challenge into a more impossible one for SSG to recover with. Calm still making it interesting, but better positioning from SSG. Trying to add on to their lead. Been holding it for quite some time. One bump on a J now. Chicago throws it into Calm's body. Hoxer gets a touch, but not clean enough. JNAPS. Little love tap to LJ. Trading possessions for both teams. No clear distinction between who's going to kind of wrap away on the counterattack and really establish himself downfield.
Calm is just chasing players downfield. He's first man, and he stays first man. As a free shot came out to LJ, who just skied it over the net. I think he was a little shocked that he had the opportunity to, but Calm is just such a nuisance. He's done this every single team he's been on, every single game he's played in. He will stay downfield and will chase you around, even on your recovery, just to make your recovery that much longer. And it takes a lot of trust from Calm on his teammates to ensure that they can pick up his slack when he leaves that space, to ensure that the next man in the defense just takes that much longer to get into the rotation.
Under 60. Do OG have enough to put this series away in 4? Are we going to Champions Field? Big demo that almost opened up a chance. Hold on. Breakaway. Noli trying to lead block in front. Com soft touch. No boost. Staying with it. JNAP dead center net, and it's tied.
Love that from Com. Didn't have enough boost to get back up to it anyways. JNAP's hit that one really weak, but it was a great block. Com feints the touch. JNAP's comes through, strikes right up the gut, and we're all tied up with 24 seconds left.
We called it out earlier. I mean, upfield, Com being a nuisance. And at some point, it will pay off. Finally, the dividend cashes in. But LJ off the kickoff, getting very dangerous. Huge clear from JNAPS, actually. Clears the waterfall away. Could be looking at a very quick counterattack from SSG. They want to capitalize here. Setting this series to 5. Noli gives it back. Still waiting. Com going to get the call. Not the best clear, but it'll do.
Oh, he might have a chance.
JNAPS. Bit of boost. Noli's going to meet it. Free jump, but Chicago ready and waiting. Understood the assignment.
Com will take his pot shot as well. That was a great little setup. Nolly read the play perfectly. JNAP's pass a little lackluster. It was a tough one to pull off with the free jump. And now Chicago chasing JNAPS in the backfield while LJ's attacking. That's probably the setup you want. LJ behind the ball as that one pitches wide.
If that was centered, that's likely a goal. Hoxer around 1. Hoxer looking for game 5. Calls it off the crossbar. Chicago centered up perfectly. We're going 5.
We're going 5, and a well-earned one here from SSG. Hoxer finally got a clean look at the net with a flip reset. Went a little high, but everyone else was there to clean it up. Chicago puts it home, and 5 games it is with Space Station, and that is their 3rd of the night. All 3 games for Space Station have been game 5.
It's really only fair that for both teams being tied map count going into this series that we have to decide it with a best of 1 essentially. And look, I mean, this was a big litmus test for OG. You're down a goal for 2 minutes of this game. They really work back, investing heavily into the physicality, those bumps, those demos on the goal line. SG, however, when they needed to step up, when they needed to close the deal and prove that their offense could capitalize on short distance goals, on small moments where it really matters in that space, they do it just there. Chicago, right place, right time. Could say the same about JNAPS, right? Nice mirror match between the two. Chicago, 2 goals, 2 saves, 6 shots. Like, that's what you want from Chicago. You want him taking a large volume of shots, and he steps up in OT. Really good showing there from SSG, going 5.
Yeah, definitely. And for SSG, I mean, listen, well, for both these guys, I mean, this is living up to exactly what the script was writing. When you look at their gameplay in RLCS, they've been so neck and neck. And here we are, game 5. Unfortunately, you can't end in an even score. Someone's got to come out on top. Got to do it one more time. Got to do the dance one more time, Spaceman.
Let's do the dance with all of our pants. Let's get into it. I'm very excited. JNAPS, don't look at me like that. All right, you're streaming to me from a Nintendo DS. I don't want to hear it. Let's get ready and get locked and loaded, pal. Okay, game 5 coming up. I believe we have 1 second, actually. The players are almost ready to get in. Look, I'm excited, man. This is the first game on mainstream today to go 5, so that's very exciting for us, at least on the NA side of the broadcast. Very interested to see what OG bring out, because it was heavy demo investment early on, not only to start this series, but in game 4. They had been working Com's angle the entire time. It eventually paid off, but Corelli, do we see them pull back on that physicality? Are they going to focus more on the orchestrated offense? 3 men up at a time, Noli really controlling the midfield. What are you expecting to see from this team going into game 5?
I don't ever think that anyone who's, big on demos is ever like, I'm just going to chase demos as hard as I possibly can every single game, no matter what. A lot of times these demos just come at the opportunity of a demo. And if you're a player like Com, they are going to come very naturally, as that he just naturally sweeps through defenses and in first man position finds someone to run into. So for Com, it's never about like, oh, I'm going to pull back or I'm going to push harder. It's more about how much of the opportunity I'm going to get. In that game, in the previous game, he didn't get as much opportunity as he did in maybe the game 3, where he got 7 demos, literally. So I think for Com, it's never about, ramping it up or ramping it down, or, getting less. It's just about if they come, they will happen. And right now, OG would be better for it for sure. But that's not without SSG, who's gotten their fair share of demos throughout this series.
1 minute gone, and both teams have had their opportunities. Couple of demos. Noli throwing one out. Waiting in the back line. They'll start to creep up in on the play. Tom will get a little chip shot through the corner. Noli bullying his way forward. But it's been the SSG defense to start that's been pretty excellent. Had to hold off in a couple opening pushes. Com, JNaps, Noli throwing everything they have in the kitchen sink at this ball. Hasn't worked out so much, but credit to SSG. Working through the corner, looking for the center. Not going to be there. Chicago. Little love tap to the ceiling. Back to the midfield, and we just keep it moving.
And rightfully so. Spacestation, this one, squeezing out to Hoxer. Just couldn't find the angle, of course, in a situation like that. So tough to keep up the play. Chicago going towards his own net here. I think trying to prevent OG players from attacking and just shepherding the ball in midair. And Hoxer gives it up straight into Nolly, who's got full boost, looking for the dunk. SSG and OG, been a sloppy series in some of these games, have not been taking care of the ball the way you would expect.
Noli has not broken his rotation. He was shadowing, I believe it was Hoxer on the goal line. Wrapped out, got the corner grab, stayed involved on the play. LJ trying to put this first touch away. Long booming clear. Comes out of the OG boys. Going to be the first one up. I believe that's Com waiting. Never mind, to the midfield. A lot of free space in the air for SSG, but they end up giving it right back to OG.
I can sense this one. It could be a long overtime, Spaceman. I'm just going to say it now.
They might get it. Again, like, you know, in instances like this, it feels like you usually see a player kind of pop the ball free and take it on a solo drive downfield, but a lot of the sidewall work in this entire series, especially in this game 5, even with open space. Hold on. Backboard available. Chicago can't get it. That help from LJ on the crash, but JNaps throws his octane on the lower right post. Gets it. Keeps the save. Com to JNaps in transition. Decent shot, not fast enough. The defense from SSG will handle it.
Close call, but everyone ran out of boost on the Space Station side. They couldn't make a play towards the net. Chicago was kind of snaking behind the ball, trying to bait defenders in, but realistically couldn't do anything afterwards. And OG were able to get out. SSG now trying to shape up an attack. Here comes JNaps straight on target. Double tap looming. It goes down and off the crossbar and away from JNaps, and Nolly just taking the low shot and a demo. And now JNaps cuts by one as Com doesn't know if he should go or not. He decides to sit back and he's better for it, but dangerously pinches across the net.
Hoxer.
Nobody was expecting it though. Hoxer was just stealing away boost. You can't blame him too much. He does get involved in Space Station. Another opportunity, but you know, maybe a half chance there. It's tough to predict the pitches across the net.
Yeah, I mean, look, there was a miscue on an initial play. Hoxer left off to go get the corner grab. I thought, you know what, if you just hold off on grabbing boost, you actually might be able to swing in and get the center. Looked like there was a chance there for SSG to close out an opening goal here in Game 5. Instead, we go back to, again, more boom ball, more ping pong. Right over Noli. Chicago leads the fake. LJ gets the finish. And downfield, just moments later, it's SSG who draw first blood.
That's so tough for Nolly because the second he started boosting forward, that one's rocketed over the top of his head. So now he's got to get back. His only choice is to do it backwards. And it's a tough read from there. 25 seconds left. And SSG might have just secured a Game 5 victory.
Striking a bit of fear into the defense. Shout out you for the raid. It's been pretty solid from both teams in this Game 5, but SSG looked a little bit two-dimensional on offense. Granted, the defense from OG hasn't given them much, but Chicago upfield with the fake, maybe one for the road, and Hoxer will have to track it back to his own goal line. Back pass to Chicago. If it touches, it's done. OG looking for a miracle here in Game 5, and it won't happen. It won't matter. SSG take the win in Game 5. They sneak through this series, and what looked like an OG runaway quickly becomes yet another great series between the two teams. And finally, an SSG win.
SSG coming out on top here, but realistically, I mean, again, we could keep going, and they would keep trading blows. These guys are so close to each other, and whether or not you want to take that away from where they sit in the international or the domestic power ranking here for North America, it's clearly a very close matchup between these two teams, OG and Space Station. A good show as always, and for Space Station this time around, coming out on